So I am cutting my onions for the meatloaf. And I like to quarter them and then half the quarter. Like so. And then after I do that, I like to put it in the food processor so it can get chopped up finely. Okay. How long was that? So guys, what I like to always do is take a paper towel, and I have this cling wrap here. What I like to do is take some olive oil or cooking spray and put it on the paper towel, and it will run off, and that's okay. And you will need a good bit, and you'll take this and you'll rub it all over this cling wrap. And this is just simply so the meat doesn't stick to it. And then if you feel you need a little bit more, you can go ahead and get you some more, and then you can just start pouring it on there too. You just will kind of get a thin layer of that coated in the area you know you're going to work in. So after you do that, you're going to take your meat and put it as much as you want on there. I'm going to take, this should be 1.5 pounds, but I'm going to do a little bit more than 1.5 pounds, simply for show. Now the reason I like to do my meat like this first is so that I can break it up and get it fine and ready to be put into the meatloaf mixture. And I might as well just go ahead and do the whole I'll just leave a little bit out. Now I'm going to do all this meat, and I'm going to just simply mash it up and mash it around like this until it gets to thin pieces. And this also helps make your meatloaf stick together in the bowl. In the meatloaf. So guys, this is what it looks like after I put the ground beef and egg in there. And I like to poke holes in the meat so that the milk and eggs and onions and stuff can go down deep down into there. And yes, after I do this, I like to kind of give the eggs a little break, like break the yolk from the actual egg, and then make it smear all over the actual holes to like coat it, you could say. Try not to use too big of words. I like to go ahead and put the milk and eggs that's already in here and the meat, the ground beef. Next, I'm going to add the onions. I like a lot of onions in my meatloaf, so I'm just going to go ahead and put them in there. Because, you know, they give it a good feeling. And I'm going to add all the onion because I like to do something with them at the end. And then this is garlic. And I'll add all that. And then I like to stir it after I do that. So guys, what I like to do next after I put the onion, the ground beef, milk, and eggs in here, I like to go ahead and add my minced garlic. I just like to sprinkle it in until it coats the top. Like this. till it coats the top because I already have onions in it. I just like to put these in there because I find that it brings out some more of the flavor. Then I like to add some garlic powder till you can till that coats the top of those. Same with the garlic powder. And now for the salt. I just kind of like to put enough until I think it's like a good enough amount for the appropriate amount that's in there. Same with the pepper. I like to add all the solid ingredients in before I put the actual liquid ingredient, which is the Worcestershire sauce. And then I just like to make sure that that covers everything well. And since it's coming out so slow, I'm just going to take the top off and cut and pour some in there. And that's about how much you need of all of those things. And then you just simply stir that around again. And if you feel that you need to add more or less to it, you can do that. So guys, I said that I like to do something with my leftover onions at the end. I like to put a little bit in at the beginning as normal. And then at the end, I like to make sure I got it all stirred up really good. So I'm giving it one last good stir. And this is what it looks like at the kind of end of the mixture for this large bowl. I like to put in the rest of the onions at the end. The reason why is so that these onions don't get fully covered with the mixture and get to be eaten more than the other ones, because you can actually taste these in the meatloaf where the other ones are cooked in and these are just like in there. So I'll add them and then I give it like one good quick stir around just to kind of put them in there like that. And then that's what I like to do. And then that step is complete. So guys, what I like to do is go ahead and put the brown sugar. And then I do the mustard. You'll take 3 of these. Two. And 3 mustard. And then I also like to go ahead and just add a little bit more, because I did a little bit more than what the actual recipe calls for. And then I'll put all the rest of that in there. After I do that, then I like to add the ketchup. I add a cup and a half of ketchup. So that's a cup. And then I like to add a half. Need a little bit more. Might as well just add that whole bottle. So that should be a cup and a half of ketchup. And then So then I like to stir that up. That's the mustard, ketchup, and brown sugar mix. And guys, I will be adding this to the meatloaf in a minute. I'm going to add just a little bit more brown sugar. That should be enough. Because I like it to be a slight bit darker than that. That's what it is with the regular amount, and then that's what it is with the added amount. The redness and darkness of it. Because the darker, I always like to think it's better. And then the lighter is like, it don't have enough. It don't have enough taste to it. And then I always like to taste it to make sure that it's the actual way I like this mixture to taste. Now I like it to be a little bit sweet, but a little bit sour too. Not too sour, but more sweet. So then, guys, I like to go ahead and oil my pan down. Which that means I use olive oil in a napkin like I did with the cling wrap and the meat. So I just take this and I take it all around the pan. And I like to do 2 layers of this when I don't have the actual spray, just so that it don't stick. So I add a little bit more to the pan. And then that should be good on that. And then, hold on. Then I grab my spoon, my meatloaf mixture, and pour it into the pan. And it should kind of just stick together, and if it don't, then it'll be okay. If it does, good. And then I kind of like to make sure I get the leftover that's in the bowl, which is simply onions and a little bit more meat. And after doing so, you spread this out evenly. And you can then, if you feel comfortable after you washed your hands, because my hands are all clean and washed, you can take your hand and mash it into the bowl some more so that it gets cooked done enough, because I found that to be helpful from when I cook it in the past. And I'll take what's on the spoon and put into your tube, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. And it will kind of feel cold and moist and wet, but that's okay. And if you want to, you can press the sides down in the pan some more so that you're not having an overflow. And so that the sauce, I call it sauce, can go over top of it and not go out of the pan. It can go down in the pan. That's a good trick. So you can kind of create a barrier for it. Or pockets for it to go into. And then you can kind of just make the top of it flat. And then I'm going to rinse off my hands so that the bowl doesn't slip out of my hands. So then I'm going to pour the brown sugar, ketchup, and mustard over top of this. I like to kind of start in the middle and work my way around it as best I can. And then I take what's left and kind of go into them pockets or barriers. So that I know I'm getting an even coat of it. And then you'll take your spoon and kind of evenly spread it out. Make sure it gets in the pockets. And if you find it feels like it's about to overflow, then you can scoop some back up in the middle, however you want to make it feel. And if you see bald spots, like here, here, and here, you will want to cover those. So that you can get an even layer of this. And I like to use a little spoon, not a big old spoon, because it's easier to manage. And then you can tap it around. And then after this, you'll insert it into your preheated oven for 1 hour. And if you need more time, you can add more time. But that is it.